No intro music today because I think it's kind of ghetto that I just put my phone up to the mic. So we'll get that sorted out with time. Honestly, I'm having a hard time at the moment sorting out my schedule and have enough time to do shit for myself. So until I get that sorted out, or until I complete phase 1, I'm going to have to figure something out. So what's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for listening to yet another episode. I'm going to dive in on my 90-day reflective is what I'm going to call it. I'm just going to reflect on the last 90 days and then see how far I've come, and then make some goals live here for the next 90 days. So that's what today's going to be about. I think it might be kind of interesting to see. I've always found it interesting when I see other people make goals and see how their brain works and how they go and decide what's important, what's not important, and where they want to be, and then see them actually achieve it. So that's what I'm going to do today. But of course, before we get into all that shit, we have to go over the rules of the podcast and why I'm doing it. So, rules of the podcast. I am not sharing any episode with anybody up until episode 100. Nobody's going to know about the show unless they find out by themselves. I must record solo, and I cannot have any guests. So that goes with the rule number 1. Nobody's going to know about the show except me, so it's just going to be me speaking. Each episode must be a minimum of 20 minutes long, and this is for reasons that I will mention in just a sec. Must have a lesson or valuable takeaway from each episode, meaning I can't just sit here and tell funny stories. I got to share some quality shit, or at least try my best to. Commitment to 5 podcasts uploaded per week on Spotify, and I believe this week we've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I haven't uploaded one yet, so once I do today, that's 4, and one more will be to complete the week. So, and then dude, I always fucking say that shit, bro. Why do I say episode 6 when I mean to say rule 6? Rule 6: no edits or cuts in the show at all, unless I'm improving the show, I guess. But what I wrote the first time was, unless I got to take a shit. If I'm taking a shit, I'm not going to leave you guys here in silence for an hour. So. And the whole reason for the rules, and the whole reason why I'm doing the show now, and the whole reason why I'm doing everything below 100 episodes this certain particular way, is because I'm doing the show for me, you guys. I'm doing it for the betterment of my confidence and my communication skills and my comfortability and pushing out of my comfort zone. I'm doing this to get better personally and to familiarize myself with so many different things that podcasting provides and offers. So that's pretty much a quick gist of it. I also want it to serve as a reminder to myself and others that you can do anything you want in the world. You just have to start and you have to commit. And that's it. Everything else after that, as long as you're improving at least by a little bit, tiny 1% every day, you will be exactly where you want to be in no time. Because if you win every single day consistently throughout the course of time, you can't lose. If you're winning every day, you're undefeated every day, and you're improving just a tiny, teensy little bit, you can't lose. And I'm only a little bit into this whole process, but I feel incredible about it all. I feel really good about how things are going. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't discouraged and feeling a certain type of way of, like, what the hell am I doing? So I do feel that way a little bit, but I actually, with my current schedule and what I got going on, this is really therapeutic for me to come into my room. Right now, all the lights are off. I got the candle going just for some light, and got my laptop here surrounded by pillows. I actually bought some soundproof squares that I'm going to put up, and I think they're cheap ones because I think they're cheap ones. So I think I just wasted some money, but it's okay. Live and learn and keep going. So whatever. So like I said, today I'm going to talk about, I'm going to title this one the 90-day reflective. And the reason for that is I'm going to, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to reflect back on the last 90 days of my life, compare then to where I am now, and then project the next 90 days based on where I'm at now, and then see, make some goals of where I want to be in the next 90 days. So I'm going to write up a document here. So again, the purpose of this episode today is going to be to give a live look at me setting my goals for the next 90 days. So 90-day reflective. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Here's what I'm going to do. I tend to write notes in my phone often. And I'm going to go ahead and look in there real quick. This is all live. I have no idea. I haven't checked. I'm going to look in my notes, see what I was writing about 90 days ago. So that would have been, hey Siri, what day was it 90 days ago?
It was Thursday, the 3rd of August, 2023.
Okay, so it was day 475 hard. So August 3rd. Let's go back to August. What do we got in August? All right, August. Don't have anything for August 3rd, but August 11th, the note that I have on that day is I was talking to this girl, and I was just asking her questions. So I was talking to a girl. It didn't work out the way I had hoped. I more or less friend zoned myself due to the nature of the circumstances, but it is what it is. Just went ahead and actually just edited that, so whatever. Okay. Good morning, Katrina. Thank you for doing this. Okay, so I was just getting started at my current job. So I wasn't even employed at Hill Air Force Base yet. I was just working FedEx. What else was I doing? Looks like I was really falling for this girl, dude. I have a lot of notes in here. Full transparency. Nothing to hide here, guys. So what else we got? First, vintage BQ. So I got a note here, August 28th, that looks like I think I'm trying to name my license plate. Yeah. Okay. So this is a month later, but I wrote a note in here and it says, okay, fuck it, I'm going to read it. It says, lately I've been spending around an hour of uninterrupted time per day in deep thought about a random topic or a certain prompt or something like that. The purpose of the exercise is to gauge my feeling toward a particular issue or to develop an opinion, if I have one, on the subject. One of the thoughts I had was regarding work. How much work is too much? How much work is too little? Who are the ones saying too much? Who are the ones saying too little? Why might they be saying that, or why do they feel that way? And what's their overall stance, and is it truly their own? What even is, in quotes, work? If I work 6 days a week and I get offered to work a 7th day, meaning I'll have worked 13 days straight by the end of the second week before my next day off, why was my first immediate unconscious thought, whoa, way too much. That's crazy talk, Bryson. I stopped and thought about why I thought that. It wasn't my opinion. I didn't choose to make that decision on the subject on my own. It is society's opinion. It is the opinions of peers, strangers, the internet, etc. It is not my own, so why was that my first thought? To some people, working more than 20 hours a week might be impossible due to their own life and the chaos they have going on. To others with priorities, maybe working as much as 84 hours is a breeze. It's all relative to the person and their voluntary or involuntary obligations, which is a key point in all of this. But the fact I put zero thought into that and accepted that as fact for my own life was a little bit scary for me. In contrast to other areas of life, what else am I absorbing from the world that isn't what I truly believe or stand behind? What else am I running with because I've been told to run with it? What other ideas or beliefs aren't even my own? Imagine a man willing and capable of working 80-hour weeks, subscribes to the groupthink of 41 hours is too much, don't work your life away, have balance, and refuses opportunities that could advance his career or his business or whatever it may be. He passes up on these opportunities because he has accepted the level of potential assigned to the average or even below the average man. In other words, the standards, beliefs, boundaries, or limitations from others have been imposed on this man, thus unknowingly limiting him. And he doesn't even consider it. He's just following the herd and believing their limits as his own. So then I started doing numbers in my head. There's 168 hours in a week. If you get in 7 hours of sleep every night, you're left with 126 working hours of the week. If you work more than 40 hours, you're left with 86 full fucking hours of life to be lived, all of which is opportunity. And if you don't view it as such, that's a whole other conversation of perspective. Not working even a third of your wakeful week away, and that's too much? Why is that too much? Who is saying it's too much? What state of well-being are the people who are saying it's too much? What state of well-being are they in? What kind of goals or visions do they have for their future or their family? Why would they even solicit their opinion on, quotes, too much work to you? Why does it matter to them anyway? Do you think it's too much? Why? Why not? What do they consider, in quotes, work? What do you consider, in quotes, work? Figure that stuff out for yourself, and by all means, if you share the same belief that 41 hours is indeed way too much, just like a certain percentage of the rest of the world, then have at it. There's nothing wrong with having a different limitation than someone else. Just ensure that it is your own. So I wrote that on the 5th of September, and I think I was going to make an Instagram post about that because of people telling me when I got this job that having 2 jobs was going to burn me out because I'd be working 6 days a week, almost 60 hours every week. And to address that really quick, I fucking love it, dude. I love the split and the refreshing feeling that I get by working the second job, which is FedEx. I actually crave to work at FedEx. I wish I could be there full time again. Kind of. So, hey, I'm not burnt out. I'm fucking fine. So worry about yourself. See, that's what I'm saying. So the whole point right there, and I just proved it to myself right there. I've been doing this for 2 months now, almost 2 months. I'm not burnt out. I'm loving it. And if I would have listened to people who said, hey, you're going to get burnt out, I'd quit. And I considered that a possibility. And I considered the fact that I might get burnt out. I might not be happy. Before I even gave it a shot, I would have about $3,000 less right now. I'd have, just shit like that. I'd have a lot less experience, I guess you could argue, with certain things. What the fuck am I getting texted about right now? I'd have more free time and stuff, but I wouldn't be in this mindset of working hard and conquering shit and getting out of debt and all this stuff. You know what I mean? What the fuck is going on with my... Sorry, guys. I just keep getting pop-ups here. Anyway. Sorry. So, if I would have listened to that, I wouldn't be in the position I am now because I genuinely look forward to working my second job. So, if I would have listened to them, then I wouldn't be in the same position I am now. And I absolutely love it. I love how everything's going right now. So that's kind of the small side note there. Don't listen to other people unless you know for sure how you feel about a certain thing. And I guess that's that. So what else have we been doing the last 30 days? Or the last 90 days? Playlist ideas. So I was going to make playlists based on a lot of different shit. Getting directions for work, getting directions for hospital codes for work. Talk with 75 Hard has taught me that I wrote a whole bunch of things that I addressed on the 75 Hard podcast episodes. I have a note here that says I'm grateful for, and it has 5 things. It says I'm grateful for 75 Hard. Wow. This is the day I completed the program, actually. Andy Frisella, Kevin and Shawnee. Mother who cares a whole awful lot, family. So I finished the program and I wrote 75 Hard, Andy Frisella, Kevin and Shawnee, mother who cares a whole awful lot, and family. First thing I'm grateful for completing the program, my family, dude. Then we have episode 208 from Andy Frisella going into timestamps of what the first phase entails so that I can be spot on with how I execute the program. Then we got some more bills and shit that I'm taking care of. And then we got some to-do lists. And the to-do list here started on the 18th of October. I wrote a list of all the shit. So I finished the program, right, 75 Hard. And then the next few days, I slacked off a little bit. I didn't hit the gym purposefully for the next 4 days. And it was nice to just get that rest. But I quickly felt like I was becoming a piece of shit again. And so I started making to-do lists. But these to-do lists were, in my opinion at the time, just loaded with shit. And this was 2 weeks ago, actually. It was only 2 weeks ago. So I put, get a car wash, ice bath by 4:10, stretch for 20 minutes, read a book, record podcast. Oh shit. So that was my first time recording a podcast. And I did it. So October 8th was the first time I ever recorded a podcast. Write 2 pages, find more photos for vision board, pinpoint nutrition program, restriction, pinpoint. So that was my to-do list. I did all of that one day. So back then, 2 weeks ago, I thought that was a lot of shit to get done. And I guess it is a lot of shit to get done, but now I'm doing a little bit even more than that. And I think that's the timely limit for me, because should be in bed 4 minutes ago, which is a lot better than yesterday. But I'm going to finish this, and then I have to write a little bit, and then I am able to go to sleep. So I'm a little bit ahead of schedule from yesterday. I'm still behind the plan that I wrote 2 days ago. But I don't know, man. It's tough. You just gotta do what you gotta do. So if I have to lose out on some sleep for the next 20 days while I complete phase 1, then so be it. But as long as I'm getting better and staying disciplined and growing, then I can't really complain too much. Then I wrote down some habits to track here because I got an app. It's called Habitify, and it allows me to track all my habits and things I want to get done on a daily basis. I put all of this 75 Hard and Live Hard program into the app, and I check off the tasks, and it keeps the streak going. So for certain things in there, I want to keep the streak going as long as possible, and I put other things in there, like I told you in the previous episodes, of just a random shit like brush teeth, make bed, things like that. Track my food intake, whatever. So all that's on a streak, and I want to be able to keep those streaks going for thousands of days. That's the goal. So let's see, what else? I have a thing talking about accountability to the... This actually fits right in. On October 25th, so a week ago roughly, I wrote in here, accountability to the podcast. When I say I'm going to do or not do something, by me telling the podcast that, I'm, with full belief in myself... What, bro? When I say I'm going to do or do not... Okay, what I'm saying here is when I tell the podcast I'm going to do something or I'm not going to do something, I'm actually telling hundreds of thousands of people, because I believe that's how many people are going to be listening to the show at some point. I'm telling hundreds of thousands of people. And by the way, if you're listening now and this is 10 years later, there's not a single person listening to this show at all. Not one person on the world knows this show exists except for me. I'm 13 episodes in, so what does that say? Anyway. Hundreds of thousands of people are listening later on. By them listening to the old podcast, which is this one, they're hearing me say I'm going to start or stop doing something or whatever my goal is. Later on, they'll hear me explain how it's going and how starting or stopping these bad or good habits has changed my life. And an example I have here is episode 1 versus episode 25 and checking in, and then 50 and then 100. But by checking in with the podcast community that doesn't even exist yet, I'm holding myself to such massive accountability to the hundreds of thousands of people who are listening. So what I mean by that is nobody's listening now, but by me saying I'm going to do something now and then following up, we'll say in 90 days, and then having people later on listen to this, that's still that same level of accountability, if you think about it that way, because I don't want to record a podcast 90 days from now saying, hey guys, I didn't do shit and I actually regressed. So, but nobody's listening anyway. So, but then imagine 5 years down the road when this podcast is something bigger and special. People go back and listen because they're curious and they want to see how I started. And then they hear that. That's not the goal. I want them to hear, you guys, to hear me planning out my goals and shit and then actually achieving them, just to prove to anyone listening that all you have to do is just start, do a little bit here, do a little bit there, win the day, every day, without question, no compromise, and you'll be exactly where you want to be in no time. So that's kind of the idea behind that. So, and then I had an idea for the podcast where the first part of the podcast is documentation of personal progress on what I'm doing, and the second part is a lesson or insight. So knowledge, wisdom, enlightenment, truths, experiences, examples, perception. And that is kind of how I've been going about it, actually. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the 90-day reflective, which is what I just pretty much did. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the next 90 days. So the reason why I dug into my notes like that is because sometimes I'll find some nuggets in there, because I write here and there sometimes in my phone, some things that are in my head, and I will kind of just talk about them to myself. Or sometimes I'll record another voice memo while I'm on my walk or something. And yeah, so anyway, 90 days ago, I'm going to go 95. Actually, we're going to go the last 120 because it brings a certain part of my life into the mix, which was when I was living in Colorado, going to work, coming home, and then sitting there all day. I didn't really eat that well. I just had Chipotle every day. I spent a lot of money on that, and then I got food from Costco, which was the pre-cooked or the pre-made stuff like the mac and cheese and the street tacos, which is delicious, by the way, but I wasn't eating well. I actually started to try new beers, so I was drinking a beer a day. That only lasted for about a week, so I'm not an alcoholic, don't worry. And beer's gross. Fucking disgusting, but it is what it is. And so So that's where I was at about 120 days ago. So 120 days ago was July. So it was actually a little bit more than that. No, it wasn't. When the fuck? No. 120 days ago, I was still in Colorado because I wasn't here for my birthday. That's right. So I wasn't going to the gym. I probably went to the gym 2 times, 3 times, 4 times in Colorado. Lived there for 4 months. And then in Arizona this year, probably went 10 times. So I probably went to the gym. No, I actually remember the number. It was 21 times because of the Vasa check-in on the app. That's the gym I go to, Vasa Fitness. Or sometimes I go to anyway. I rarely go there anymore, actually. I go to the one that I work at. But that one said I had 21 check-ins when I went. Nice, Jake. When I came to... Jake, if you're listening to this, bro, that's funny as fuck. I had 21 check-ins when I went to the Vasa Fitness here in Utah for the 22nd time. So that means the whole year up to mid-July, I had gone to the gym 21 times. And now I do that in about 21 days. So that's the progress made in the gym. I have also completed 75 hard in the last 120 days. I've started phase 1 of the Live Hard program in the last 120 days, 90 days, whatever. I have gained probably 20 pounds. I have yet to step on a scale since completing the program, but I've definitely upped some weight. I have gained a shit ton of strength. A lot of it is muscle memory, but I don't care. Gained a lot of strength. My bench has skyrocketed. I'm getting more comfortable with deadlifts and squats again because I have 2 herniated discs and it makes it very difficult. So I have, what else have I done in the last 90 days? I have committed to a lot of different things. I have faced a lot of hard truths in myself personally and my past and some of the unfortunate and sad things that have happened. I have started a new career. I have gotten out of my comfort zone a little bit by doing this show. I have started putting all my thoughts on paper in the words of writing, which is why I write 2 pages. And I have drank, almost 100 gallons of water in the last 120 days because I'm part of that time frame. I was not on the program, so I've drank at least 87 gallons of water, which is pretty cool. What else have I done in the last 90 days that are completely... I stopped fast food. Oh, I don't really consider Chipotle fast food, but no more fast food. I haven't had soda all year this year, so no more soda. What else have I done? There's some personal things that I've tried to quit and move on from, and I've seen a lot of progress with that. And sooner or later, I will open up and talk about some of these things because I believe it'll be very powerful to hear somebody that maybe you can relate to talk about some very difficult shit, especially in the world that we live in today. And if you have any, guilt in your heart about something, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'll leave it at that, but you know what I mean. So we'll talk about that some other day. What else have I done in the last 90 days? I think that's it. So in the last 90 days, to sum it up, started a podcast, started writing for something, completed 75 hard, started phase 1 of the Live Hard program, gotten my ice bath from 55 degrees down to 45 degrees for 4.5 minutes. I quit all junk food and fast food and soda. Started a new job. Getting out of my comfort zone, trying new things here. And I think that's a quick summary of the last 90 days. So the last 90 days have been incredible for me in my personal life and my goals and everything. So fuck yes, dude. It feels so good to reflect and look back at the last 90 days and see how far I've come and where I'm headed. So now comes the point where we're going to talk about where we want to be in 90 days from now. So, where I want to be, hey Siri, what day will it be in 90 days from today?
It's Tuesday, the 30th of January.
30th of January. 2024. So Kobe year, baby. All right. First thing I want to have done. I want to have 100 episodes of the podcast done. I want to have, I'm not writing that, 100 episodes of the podcast done, 60 pages of this thing I'm doing written. Completed both phase 1 and phase 2 of the Live Hard program. Now let me think about some. So 90 days, 20 days to complete this, 50 days to complete that, 80 days to complete. Yeah, so I'll be 10 days completed roughly of the phase 2 Live Hard program. I want to have both those completed because after phase 2, I think I'm going to try to do a second round of 75 hard and then complete that and then do a third round literally 2 days after the second round. And then when I finish that, it'll be 3 days out from phase 3 of the Live Hard program. So in my first Live Hard year, I will have completed 75 hard 3 times, and then phase 1, 2, and 3 each. But I'm not quite sure I want to do that. I am on target to do that. I am starting things so that I have that opportunity to do 75 hard 3 times in a year. And that's no other reason than I feel fucking incredible on the program, and the discipline and the commitment that it forces me to have in my life is invaluable. And I'm operating at a very high level for me personally in my life, and I don't want that to stop. I'm not tired or exhausted or feeling burnt out. I'm just feeling stressed that I am fucking up my sleep because I have to get so much shit done. But I guess that's the path I chose, and I am accepting it and loving it because I know that I'm going to achieve some crazy shit in my life, and it's going to be a result of these, quote unquote, late nights, early mornings, and late for me being 8 p.m. because that gives me only 6 hours of sleep. So, but the early mornings are real. I'm getting up at 2:30, and I take pride in that shit. So all right, 100 episodes of the podcast, 60 pages of the book written, completed both phase 1 and 2 of the program. I want my bench to be 2 plates for 8 reps. Bench press, 2 plates, 8 reps. Because that's what it used to be. That's the strongest I've ever been. And I'm going to get back to there in the next 90 days. 100% sure. I want my deadlift to be at 225. I'm taking that slow. You can laugh at me all you want. I wanted to go back up to 2 plates for 12 reps. Actually, dude, that's a low goal. Let's go, for me personally, let's go 275 pounds. Dude, I think I could do 275 pounds for 12 reps. Squats. 2 plates for 6 reps. So I herniated 2 discs, like I've said 100 times. I'm very nervous to do anything with deadlifts and squats again, but those are my favorite exercises, and I want to get very strong again. Because that's the only difference between now and back then, I think now, is my strength is still zapped quite a bit in my lower body. And I think my legs have shrunk quite a bit, which is embarrassing, but it is what the fuck it is, man. So those are the physical goals. What's a big goal that I need to put down here? The next 90 days, I want to have, 90 days, 2 loans paid off. So is that realistic? So the next 90 days, that is 6 checks. Is that right? Yep. 6 times. So 6 checks, 2 loans paid off. Yeah, 2 loans paid off. We're going to do that. 2 loans paid off. So that would be lower debt by approximately $4,000 to $5,000. I don't have a number off the top of my head. So get 2 loans paid off, lower my debt by $4,000 to $5,000. Because the ultimate goal right now for me in this phase of life for me is to get out of debt by my 27th birthday. And I'm on target to do that, but I want to make sure that it happens, and as soon as possible, actually. So what else do we want to do? In the next 90 days, podcast on 100 episodes of the podcast, 60 pages. See, so this is where the growth factor comes in, right? Because I'm literally 2 weeks ago, I hadn't recorded a podcast ever in my life. I was too insecure and too scared to do it. Now I'm only 13 in. This is the 13th one, I think. And I look at that first one of 100 episodes of the podcast done, and I don't see that as something fucking crazy anymore. I just see that as like, yeah, I'm doing one a day. I'll get there. I'm going to get there. And no doubt I will get there. I'm not even questioning that, you know. And the same thing with the 60 pages of the thing I'm working on written. That's 60 fucking pages, bro. That's a lot of words. That is approximately 21,000 words. That's a lot. And I force myself to write 700 to 800 per night. And I just see 60 pages, and I don't think that's that big of a deal. But 2 weeks ago, writing a page would be massive, you know? So that's where the growth is coming in. And that's exciting because I'm seeing that these monstrous goals that I once had are no longer seeming to be that monstrous for me. Now, I'm not saying they're not big goals to have. I mean, 100 episodes of a podcast is a lot. But for me, in what I'm trying to go for in life, I guess it's going to happen in the next 87 days because that's how many more days I have until 100 episodes. So, yeah, it's going to happen, and that's a really good feeling. So, what's up, Jake? All right, what other... So, to recap here, we got 100 episodes of the podcast, 60 pages done. Completed both phase 1 and phase 2 of the Live Hard program. Bench press, 2 plates for 8 reps. Deadlift, 2.5 plates for 12 reps. Squats, 2 plates for 6 reps. 2 loans paid off. Lowered that by approximately $4,000 to $5,000. And I put that there just to allow myself the leeway to choose where the money goes rather than pay off 2 specific loans. So, what else can I accomplish in the next 90 days? Let's see here. In the next 90 days, I'm going to write a 2024 Kobe year resolution and goal list. Set up Habitify with new habits and include everything. So like I said, I use an app called Habitify. It allows me to track all of my habits and good or bad ones, or keep track of how long I've no longer done something. So if I was trying to stop drinking, it would allow me to track how long I've been sober for. But I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have a problem with drinking, so that's not one for me. So one for me is to no cheats or alcohol. I actually just contradicted the fuck out of my own self. It's all good. There's another one that says track, or that says, what the fuck is that one? No social media. And I'm only going to keep that for the next 20 days. I'm just doing it for phase 1, just as a little bit of a, I guess, cheat code, because I would be struggling if I still had that shit on my phone, just wasting so much time. But I feel really good that it's off my phone and I'm not seeing it. Dude, I spend so much time on there. And I'm so hyper aware of how much time everybody else spends on it too. It's crazy. All right. So what I mean was the whole Habitify thing. I want to include everything. So, and I mean literally everything on the day, on the schedule, perfectly done, so that I always know exactly what I'm doing for the day on repeat without even thinking about it. I just look at my phone, look at the to-do list for the day, and I execute and get that done. So what else are we going to do? I feel like I want to do more. A lot of these things are just going to happen just because of just this is a result. Let's see. Read 3. Do 4. Now I'll go, let's see, 3. Let's go 3, read 4. Personal development books. That is approximately, what is that? 20, 25. What, bro? 29. What am I thinking of here? 20, 22, 23 pages per day. What am I? Hold on. Oh, 23 pages, 23 days per book. That's what I was trying to figure out. That's doable. That's fine. I'm trying to read with intent here and actively read instead of read to check off a box. I used to do that. I used to try to read a book a week and I was successful at it, but I didn't comprehend a fucking thing, dude. All right, guys, I think that's all I'm going to put on here that I can think of now. If I think of anything else, I'll include that in tomorrow's episode, and I'll share that with you. I'll go over the list. But, yeah, today's the 90-day reflective episode. So, last 90 days have been incredible for me. Gained 20 pounds, gained a lot of strength, completed 75 hard, got my life on track, stopped a lot of bad habits, increased good ones, started eating clean and healthy, started taking all my vitamins, fish oils, started reading books, got rid of social media, started putting good shit into my head, and started kicking ass, and started keeping the promises I made to myself and keeping the commitments that I made as well. And it feels fucking amazing. So the last 90 days for me have been some of the best 90 days in my entire life. And so I want to keep that going. So 100 episodes of the podcast done, 60 pages of the thing I'm working on written, completed both phase 1 and phase 2 of the Live Hard program, bench to 2 plates for 8 reps, deadlift to 2.5 plates for 12 reps, squats to 2 plates for 6 reps, 2 loans paid off or lowered debt by $4,000 to $5,000. Right, 2024 Kobe year resolution and goal list: set up Habitify with new habits, include literally everything. Read 4 personal development books. That's what I got going for the next 90 days. So I guess the biggest one that I have for the next 90 days is to get this podcast to episode 100. And we're going to do that for sure. It's just a matter of, staying consistent for the next 87 days. And then after that, developing a plan to go forward with whatever the podcast is at the time, with what kind of direction I want to take it. So that is the show, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. What I'm going to do now is... What am I going to do now? I can't remember what the fuck I was going to say, man, but that is the show. Those are my goals for the next 90 days. I hope it was somewhat valuable to hear me talk about my goals and where I want to be. I didn't really go into depth that much. I probably should have, actually. Holy shit. The more I think about it, when I record an episode and I finish done and I click done, I immediately think of ways I could have said something better or done something different or made something more clear. And I guess that's just a struggle people face, maybe. I don't know if you guys have your own podcast, if that's something you face. You in the show and you're like, fuck, I should have said that. But I should have gone into more depth on why these goals are important. I'm going to do that real quick. So the podcast thing, it's important to me to do because I've committed to this and I want to have a show. I want to grow the show, and I want to have some kind of platform outside of the basic, normal, stupid shit that is Facebook and Instagram, and I will never get TikTok. Fuck that shit, bro. Maybe I will in the future. I don't know. But it would be strictly for business. But anyway, I just want to have the podcast. It's such a superior thing in my eyes. If you say that you have 1,000 followers or whatever on Instagram, but that's awesome. But if you say you have 1,000 followers on Spotify, bro, that's fucking sick. That's cool to me. 60 pages written of this thing I'm working on. And so a few episodes ago, I said I was fully committed to the thing that I'm working on. And the more that I think about that, and you can call me out if you want, or you think I'm backing out on a commitment I made, but I don't have the vision I guess I once had for the thing that I started. And I guess what I mean is that it's very difficult for me to continue on with writing these things with that same vision because I don't really have any more to say about that thing. I thought I did, but I don't have the experience, I guess, or I'm not really sure what you'd want to call it for the entirety of the thing that I'm working on. And so I will continue writing 2 pages. I'm not bitching out or anything like that. But I think these 2 pages might be about different topics rather than trying to be all about the same exact thing in a sense. So I think that the reason why I want 60 pages done is so that I can have kind of a bank of material that I can pull from and gain inspiration from myself. And a lot of what I've wrote down, I've actually shared on the podcast already. So it's already serving its purpose. So I'm going to keep up with that theme. All right. Completed both phase 1 and phase 2 of the Live Hard program. And that's important to me because I want to get this shit done and I want to complete a full Live Hard year for me, for nobody else but for me. And I'm on phase 1 now, dude. So if you want to be technical here, I only have 60 or 80 days left of the entire year's worth program. And then I'm done. But obviously I can't start phase 3 until June 29th of next year. Those are the rules. But it's important to me to finish the program because I started this shit. I'm going to see it through. All right, and then for the lifts, they're important to me because that's how, for the bench, that's how strong I was before I essentially stopped hitting the gym due to my injuries. And I want to get my bench press up there. I want to reach 3 plates. That's not going to happen in the next 90 days, but I am going for that soon. And same with the deadlift. My deadlift used to be 455 for 4 reps and then 405, so 4 plates for 11 reps. And I have video proof of both, and I'm very proud of those lifts. But I want to get it back up there. It's just very, very paranoid about my lower back and being in pain again. Same with the squats. I used to do 3.5 plates, and now I can barely do 1. Real talk. So I want to get to 2 plates for 6 reps, 6 clean-ass reps. And then the 2 loans paid off. I want to have those paid off because the ultimate goal for me is to be debt-free by my 27th birthday. And I'm on track to do that, but I want to do it sooner, and I want to have those finances freed up on a month-to-month basis. And with that, I want to be able to more, I guess, accurately look for a place for myself for the future. I'm not going to live here with my uncle forever, but I am enjoying the perks that come with it. And yeah. Can I move out and get my own place right now? I can. It would be tight for me at the moment because of kind of the mess I've gotten into financially with moving all the time and financing the buyout for those apartments. So I got about almost $4,000 financed in moving fees, essentially. Breaking the lease because you have to pay 2 months up front. So almost $4,000 doing that shit. It's all good though. It was worth every penny, guys. But now I got to pay for it. So that's that. And then write a 2024 resolution list and set up everything. And the plan for that is just so I have every single thing on my phone every day so that I can execute on every single thing that I need, that I know I need to get done for that day on that day and get that shit done. And I want to be able to have those streaks going so I can see, hey, man, every Sunday I've had this thing pop up and I've done it every Sunday. I'm on a 52 streak. That's a whole year. That's powerful. I find power in that. And I think that's one thing I learned from the program of 75 Hard, which is the streak. I completed the program at day 76, and I looked back and I said, wow, dude, I have 75 days in a row of drinking a gallon of water, working out twice per day. It's 150 workouts, taking a photo, following my nutrition plan, getting a certain amount of calories, 200 grams of protein, and reading 10 pages of a book per day. So I read almost 1,000 pages of personal development books for the last 75 days, you know? And that's powerful shit to look back and see that and to see the numbers and to see how far you've come. So that's the point of that. And then going off that, to read 4 personal development books. I want to keep that going. I don't ever want to stop reading. I think, like I've said in almost every show, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's how life goes. So by continuously reading these personal development books and self-help books and personal development, everything that encompasses being a better human and striving for greatness and winning the day, I always want to include that in my life somehow, some way, and continue growing. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And that is my mantra, dude. Die or grow. So, and I didn't get that from We Came as Romans, and I didn't get that from Crystalia. I did get that from my own head, though. So, that's the show now. That's actually the show now. I feel like I went into depth a little bit more on why I wanted those goals, so I feel a little bit better. So, still feel like I could have said more, but it is what it is. I need to go to bed 45 minutes ago, so we're going to cut the show off here. I'm not going to play the outro song because I do think it's a bit corny, but I do want to leave you with this. Think of the last 90 days of your life, the last 180 days, the last year, the last 5 years. Think about everything you've done. Think about the things that were hard. Think about things that were easy. Put those into perspective with where you are now in life and see if you kind of gauge where you're at. If you went through a lot of hard shit and you're doing great right now, that's probably a good indicator that you are excelling and progressing. But if it's the opposite, if you didn't really go through much or you didn't have many things going on the last few years or weeks or months, but now you're ultimately worse, there's something going on and you need to figure out what that is and fix it. And you and I both know what the issue is. You just have to act and commit to solve it. So the goal here is to get you, the listener, to think about the next 1,000 days and to commit to doing the shit that you need to do for at least 90% of those days. So the 900 days. So that means, 30 days out of every year, you can have a complete fucking failure of a day, which, if you think about it, that's a lot of fuck ups, dude. So, and if I can have 0 fuck ups in the last 90 days, you can absolutely. So, that last part didn't really make much sense. Just forecast your life, your year, your week, whatever. Try to do the best you can. Win every day to the best of your ability. Do everything in your capability to execute the best that you can and get the shit done. And that's all I want to leave you with. So with all that being said, this has been my first 90-day reflective episode. I'm going to try to do these, I think, every 90 days. We'll see. No commitments there, but it would be cool. And if you're listening and you think that's a good idea, let me know. And we'll go from there. So thank you so much for listening. I am going to have to write still. And then I'm going to go to bed. So, yep. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Talk to you later.